Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What is your secret that you can't tell anyone because it will probably ruin your life? I have no idea what I'm doing at work. The amount of time I spend clicking my mouse on my empty desktop and writing gibberish into a Word doc that I delete at the end of the day is shocking. You should write a book instead. This is what I think is wild. I went from working in a medium-sized group, wearing multiple hats and getting shit done, to working in a giant corporation where if I draft an email reply then send it at the end of the day, everybody claps for me, and I make way more than I ever would at the job where I was actually doing things. It's just crazy to me. I'm used to it now. But it drove me nuts cause things I could do in a few hours would take other people weeks to complete. And that's the norm. I just love how all of the stories here are either, on September 3rd at 2:37 a.m. I went to a truck stop and murdered someone in the bathroom, or, my homemade cookies aren't homemade. My Girl Scout cookies are made with real Girl Scouts. I stopped working at work 1 year back. I have no idea what the fuck they want from me because I watch 12 hours of shows on my laptop and work for 30 minutes a day by attending a team huddle and staying on mute. Is this place hiring? Reddit mobile app team. 3 to 4 years ago I was responsible for providing a few reports to different teams. Each month I'd generate the reports, format it in a presentable way for the team managers I was sending them to, and send them over. Nobody ever said anything about them, never a question about the data or even a reply to my email. So 1 month I just decided I wasn't going to send them. And then it turned into 2 months and 3 months. Nobody ever said a word about it, so I just stopped doing it. Got promoted the following year. Honestly, best advice when you start a job like that is to stop sending reports and updates. Then see who notices. So many reports are created because one manager didn't know one piece of info once and got embarrassed. Stop sending. Work out what's important and who needs to be kept happy. Then focus your energy on useful tasks. What job cannot be done for a year without people noticing? I have a job like that. Midnights at a call center. I just sleep or watch movies. Haven't worked in 6 years. It's actually an interesting phenomenon. Basically, managers at big companies sometimes fail to realize that someone's become redundant. https www.vox.com/platform/amp/money/2373324/bullshit-jobs-work-employment-lazy-jobless-employed-nothing. G to do. My 54-year-old secret would ruin several lives. My childhood best friend's little brother is actually my son, and his children are my grandchildren. 23andMe will fix that real soon for ya. My mother-in-law did 23andMe about 9 years ago. She went into it thinking she had 3 other siblings. She's one of 11! The one unifying characteristic is that they are all their mother's child. Just different dads. I's 23andMe can dump a lot more on ya than expected. WTF? Am I reading this correctly? If I could understand the sentence I would probably also be having this reaction. Wait, so you banged the mom of your best friend? And has assumed, since then, that nobody else did around that time. 5 years before my stepdad died of Alzheimer's and leukemia, I noticed he was very quiet in the evenings when I visited him and my mom. I asked him, "Why don't you want to talk a bit more?" To which he responded, "If I don't say anything I can't say anything wrong." Quote, I took it to mean that he was afraid of conflicts with my mom, and said that I would want to hear anything he had to say. After he died I realized why he said what he said. I was at a lunch with them when he tried to ask me something but put in completely wrong nouns. Nonsense choices. And every time he did that my mom started laughing and said, "Ha ha ha. Now you've totally gotten things weird." Quote. She didn't know she was being condescending because she didn't know he was getting advanced dementia. None of us knew then. And she just brushed his mistakes off as being silly mistakes. She couldn't know it shamed him so much that he stopped talking. Since he didn't trust his words anymore. Nor his sense of balance. I will never ever explain this to my mom. Not even if I am super angry. I would do unretractable damage to my relationship with her. She mourned him deeply. Edit. To the heartless people insulting my mother over this post. She stood with my stepdad to the very end. Sat with him in his room in the nursing home when he sometimes would scream for a half hour in mortal dread as he realized the consequences of his worsening condition. Those days would completely crush her. She suffered more than anyone I know have done. And also saw her own dad die of cancer in her youth. So you know nothing of her sacrifice. My grandma has Alzheimer's. It sounds really terrible to say, but I'm so happy my grandpa died before she got the disease. He was a mean bastard and he never would have brought her to the doctor. She'd be falling down the stairs right now, trying to do his laundry and make his food, all while being undiagnosed. If he was still alive, he'd be yelling at her and calling her stupid. Alzheimer's is fucking terrible. I'm sorry you're dealing with this. I know how devastating it can be. It doesn't hurt me much, but the things she says to my mom fucking tear me up. She was always such a sweet and quiet lady, and I'm flat out baffled by some of the things she says. Now, my grandpa was a prick. He changed very briefly after his wife died and seemed like he was turning a new leaf. Got remarried and was back to the same old shit. He kept saying his new wife was acting like a child and was stupid, and he'd say it to her face too. She died after about a year of marriage and had become increasingly more inept and bizarre. Well, turns out, they had gotten into a car accident several months prior to her death. Her Australian shepherd died in the accident, so it must have been a doozy. Paramedics supposedly came and suggested my grandpa take his wife to the hospital to get checked out. He never did. She had a fucking brain bleed. That's why she was acting like that, because she was injured. Good riddance to my grandpa. There was no funeral and no one mourned.